My name is Galen Karlan-Mason, and I'm the CEO and founder of GreenChoice. GreenChoice is a data-driven platform that empowers consumers to make informed food choices. So we aggregate and analyze disparate data on diet, health, and sustainability, and use it to evaluate products to see how they match up with our users' specific values and dietary goals. So we've built out a mobile app that actually simplifies healthy, values-based grocery shopping, and we're working on a web platform that will curate content about these topics of diet, health, and sustainability for you to simplify that research process and help you figure out what you should be eating and what you should be buying. So I grew up in rural Vermont. I grew up to two parents that were I consider them former hippies. They may not own it as much as I would, but I think they taught us that one, our choices really have a huge impact on the planet, and two, food is really important for our development, our health, and our well-being. So we ate really clean food, a lot of organic food. We had a lot of local food available to us. And I also, in the midst of all this, had really problematic food allergies. So my mom was stuck spending a lot of time trying to kind of match up these values and these health goals with my own dietary needs. I saw the struggles of that. I personally felt the struggles of that. But my experience was an anomaly, I think, or rare, in that I was really fortunate to have parents that were kind of tuned in. My mom, as a therapist, was pretty aware of how it impacted early childhood development. So fast forward to me as a grad student, I am less active than I've ever been. I'm spending more time behind the computer, more time sitting, thinking about my diet and cooking for myself, and starting to learn about the impact that our food really has on the environment. And I start to, you hear these numbers, right? 75% of deforestation is tied to agriculture. 19 to 30% of greenhouse gas emissions are tied to our food system. And then you look at the chronic illness in this country, right? And with 70% of disease being preventable and really tied to diet, it's food is at the nexus of all these issues. And these are serious problems. And we're talking about one of the most complex decisions we face on a weekly basis. What should I be eating? What are the right things for my health needs? How do I manage my values with the products I buy? Is the company ethical? Is this food healthy for me? Does this fit my budget? What should I cook? I could go on. And we can solve this problem. And so what we did is we set out to solve it. The Venture Cafe Foundation has helped us through community. If I was to put it in one word, we actually were invited. What initially brought me was an invitation to table at one of the events, the AI night, because of our business's connections to deep learning and natural language processing. And that was fantastic because now we had people interacting with us around one of our kind of deeper focuses as a business. I'd say beyond that, though, I've kind of been inspired to come back just because the energy was amazing. I mean, there's very few places that you walk into a space, you look at someone for half a second, and they've immediately introduced themselves, and you're in a conversation around similar interests. And was my experience here. I connected with somebody here that's working on, an early phase business in a completely different field, but we talked about trying to figure out product market fit and how hard that is for every entrepreneur, right? And when do you have it and how do you know? And so he had just read this article by an entrepreneur kind of further along in the process that outlined some specific steps and questions that you could actually ask your users, and from those answers derive kind of a tangible KPI, a tangible metric for how close you are to product market fit. I took that back, and now we're actually about to implement it into our app to kind of get some of that early feedback. So that's one example of the way that it's been beneficial to us. And then for Start Hub, it's been great to be able to see all in one place some of the innovation that's happening in Boston. There's so many exciting things going on here. There's so many startups. It's hard to keep track of it all. And so the fact that I get to go to one place, sort through it, see companies that are doing, working on similar problems as ours, and hear their stories, see their founders speak. It's been great. Innovation for me means challenging convention. It means looking around at this room, looking around at your world, and recognizing that most of what you see started as an idea, was thought up by somebody, and created and built by somebody. And therefore, there are no rules. And if you see rules, they're meant to be broken. And you have the agency to create anything you want. And so any problem or any idea you have, the biggest barrier to manifesting that into something that is in the world that someone else can look around at and see is you. And so therefore you are the key to innovation.